Shalom, family. Good to see everybody here. Oh, man, what's going on in this country is something else. Now, Donald Trump wants to get rid of mail in ballots and also voting machines. You know where he got this from, y'all? Putin. Putin told him during his meeting with Alaska, because I think Trump was inquiring about it. Putin says he don't have mail-in ballots. He's never had it. So do you find it a coincidence the very next day after meeting with Putin, all of a sudden Donald Trump don't want mail-in ballots anymore? Okay, so that's where this is coming from. And also keep in mind Donald Trump wants that third term. He wants a third term. So he's got to do something to disrupt voting, because if you leave everything in place as is, he knows he's going to lose. So now it is time to start rigging things up. This is so the Republicans can win in 2026. And when 2028 comes, he can get his third term in office. I mean, the way Donald Trump look, I don't think he gonna make it. He looked like he's gonna barely make it through his second term. He looks very sickly these days. So anyway, y'all, I'm not surprised. I mean, he's gonna do all kinds of trickeries and everything to try to rig things up. Nobody should be surprised over that. It is to be expected, for real. So this is why I'm glad my people are not involved in any of their politics. I'm glad, but it's going to be nice to sit on the sidelines and watch these folks have meltdowns, because that will happen. All right, y'all, I'm going to share my screen so you can hear everything from the horse's mouth, and then you can hear reaction to it. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
First, you pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that and how important?
Well, that's a very off-topic, just really quickly. Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses it because of what's happened, massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results. The machines, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form. So between paper ballots, very, very important, paper ballots, and I think maybe even more important, the mail-in voting. We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have
Get up, I got some fucking news. So Donald Trump is coming after voter rights. Yes. He signed an executive order today saying he's getting rid of mail-in ballots. You know how many people use mail-in ballots? Honestly. Overseas. In the November 2024 election, which Donald Trump won, there was 157 million ballots. 30% of those ballots were mail-in ballots. That equates to 47 million voters not being able to use mail-in ballots coming the 2026 midterm elections. It also will cancel out anybody overseas stationed at any military base to cast their vote as well. Oh, but get this, that's not it. He's also going after voter machines, saying that we need to have honesty and integrity during our elections. I want y'all to remember this. A couple of weeks ago, his Justice Department wanted access to states' voter machines. And the state said, nah, we good on that, my boy. We're going to keep our shit to ourselves. That is a state right. But since he couldn't get that, not even from red states, now he's going after everybody. Now, this executive order will be contested in the court of law. There's no way in hell you just going to X out mail-in ballots. 47 million people in this country won't have the access to vote. We know they're going to move quickly to get this shit in court and get it cast down. Now, more than likely, red states will be like, we're going to compromise with him. We're not going to do mail-in ballots in our state. But that will cut out a lot of the elderly. That will cut out people who can't get off from work. That will cut off people overseas who are serving this country, and so on and so forth. It's only fucking Monday.
So Trump says he's going to sign an executive order to ban mail-in ballots and voting machines. And I want to make it very clear. It's not about election integrity. It's about narrowing the electorate in a way that benefits him politically. Mail-in voting is disproportionately used by people who can't easily make it to polling places, seniors, disabled voters, people working long shifts, and members of the military who are deployed overseas. By targeting mail-in ballots, Trump isn't just fighting a method of voting. He's effectively trying to redraw the boundaries of who counts as a legitimate voter in America. Republicans are doing this, as well as gerrymandering red states, all ahead of the midterms. So I want to ask you something. Are these the actions of a party that won an election with a mandate to fix America?
Donald Trump just said he's going to sign an executive order to end voting as we know it. He posted on his Truth Social, I'm going to lead a movement to get rid of mail-in ballots. And also, while we're at it, highly inaccurate, very expensive, and seriously controversial voting machines by signing an executive order to help bring honesty to the 2026 midterm election. You got to understand the reason why he's coming after voting machines and mail-in ballots at this time is not because there's massive voter fraud or any activity that can happen with mail-in ballots, because his ass voted by mail-in ballot in the 2020 election. Realty is why he's doing this in the first place is because Texas right now is failing. He wants to pressure Governor Greg Abbott from Texas to redistrict and create new political maps so that they can eliminate Democratic seats. Problem with that is that the Texas Democrats left the state, and for the sixth time, the Republicans in the Texas House could not pass quorum, which means they couldn't even bring those political maps to a fucking vote. Not only that, but we got Governor Gavin Christopher Newsom over there in California saying, fuck you bitches. I need to redistrict all 52 congressional districts here in California. That's exactly what the fuck we're going to do. And eliminate all you motherfucking Republican seats. Because if you look at the statistics, Democrats vote more by mail-in ballot. In the 2020 election, 58% of Democrats voted by mail compared to 29% of Republicans. They will rig this shit at all costs because that's the only way that they can win.
Donald Trump just announced he's banning mail-in ballots and voting machines with an executive order. That's right. The guy who lost to Biden now wants to delete half the ways Americans actually vote. Bold strategy, Cotton. Before this gets buried, smash like, drop a comment, and share. Because if you don't, this story disappears faster than Trump's tax returns. Here's what he's claiming. Mail-in ballots and voting machines are vulnerable to fraud, which is adorable considering U.S. election fraud happens less often than you get food poisoning at Chipotle. Tiny odds, like microscopic. But, and this is important, the president does not control elections. States do. The Constitution is super clear. Courts have already smacked him down this year when he tried to limit mail voting. So this order, it's basically cosplay with letterhead. Meanwhile, Democrats are warning this could block millions of voters, seniors, people with disabilities, folks in rural America. Legal experts are waving red flags like the president can't just Thanos snap voting machines out of existence. So what do you think? Should America's elections be run by law or by whatever Trump rage posts at 2 a.m.? Drop your thoughts, share this video, and keep this story alive because democracy's not supposed to be a reality show reboot.
Okay, so help me understand something. Trump has announced that he will be signing an executive order. He wants to get rid of the inaccurate voting machines and mail-in ballots. So if these voting machines are inaccurate, Tell me how he won the 2024 election. Tell me how that makes any sense. Because to me, it doesn't make any sense. The same machines that was used to vote him in, now they're inaccurate. Please help me understand because it's not making any sense to me.
Donald Trump just announced that he wants to get rid of both mail-in ballots and voting machines. Think about that. He's trying to strip away the two methods that millions of Americans rely on to vote. And the reasons he gave? Completely false. He claimed the US is the only country that allows mail-in voting. Wrong. Germany, Switzerland, the UK, Canada, Australia, and more than 30 other democracies all use it. In Germany's last election, nearly half the country voted by mail. Then he said voting machines are 10 times more expensive than some kind of watermark paper. Except every expert who's looked at this says machines are actually faster, more accurate, and more cost efficient than hand counting ballots. His number, totally made up. And of course, he dusted off the old lie about massive voter fraud. Here's the truth. Studies found fraud rates in mail-in ballots as low as 1 in 5 million. Compare that to your odds of being struck by lightning. 1 in 15,000. You're literally tens of thousands of times more likely to be hit by lightning than to commit voter fraud. So what's really going on? This isn't about fraud or cost or accuracy. It's about control. If you limit how people can vote, you control who gets to vote. And that's the game Trump is playing. We need to call this what it is, an attack on democracy. Don't let the lies slide.
Mail-in ballots is going to be a great embarrassment to our country.
President Donald Trump says he will sign an executive order eliminating mail-in ballots and voting machines. Trump has long opposed voting by mail or electronically and has long claimed widespread voter fraud due to the systems. Trump claimed the U.S. is the only country in the world that still uses mail-in ballots. This claim is false. Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, South Korea, and more than 24 other countries have postal voting systems in place. Countries with right-wing governments like Italy also offer limited mail-in voting. Trump said recently that Russian President Vladimir Putin agreed that mail-in voting is not honest. Trump blasted voting machines as highly inaccurate, very expensive, and highly controversial. The president believes his effort to remove mail-in voting and voting machines will be opposed by Democrats and accuses the party of widespread cheating. He also noted that his orders are justified because the executive branch has power over the states. Experts believe voter fraud is very rare in the United States and almost never actually influences an election's outcome.
Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order that's going to change the way elections work in the United States forever. He wants to get rid of mail-in ballots and also change voting machines. Take a look at what he had to say on Truth Social. He says, I'm going to lead a movement that will get rid of mail-in ballots and also, while we're at it, highly inaccurate, very expensive, and seriously controversial voting machines, which cost 10 times more than accurate and sophisticated watermark paper, which is fast and leaves no doubt at the end of the evening as to who won and lost the election. Going on to say all the others have given up mail-in voting because of the massive fraud that they've encountered. We will begin this effort, which will strongly be opposed by the Democrats because they cheat at levels never seen before, saying he's going to sign an executive order to bring honesty to the 2026 midterm elections. Interesting. Remember, states are merely an agent for the federal government in counting the votes. They must do what the federal government, as represented by the President of the United States, tells them for the good of the country to do. Then he starts talking about open borders, men playing in women's sports, transgender, woke for everyone, and all that crap, claiming that Democrats can only win elections if they cheat. He's saying this after he won the last election, by the way. Remember, this post is actually a confession when he says that Democrats have to cheat to win elections. He's the one literally trying to change the way they work so he can stay in power and the Republicans can win the midterms in 2026.
Alarm bells are going off as President Trump says he is prepared to sign an executive order banning mail-in ballots and voting machines. He also said that we are the only country in the world that uses mail-in ballots, which is inherently false. Countries like Canada, Germany, Australia, and more, they all use mail-in ballots. It's a part of modern democracy. And if Trump goes through with this, he won't just be attacking a voting method. He'll be silencing millions of Americans. That includes seniors, disabled voters, rural communities, and especially our military. You see, our active duty service members are required to stay apolitical while serving and in uniform. They can't campaign or protest, and often absentee ballots are the only way they can have a say in the elections and the leaders that they risk their lives to protect. And let's be clear, there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud from mail-in ballots and voting machines. In fact, the only voting machines causing a bit of controversy right now are in Rockland County. If you know, you know. This is where they reported that Trump winning in precincts that he shouldn't have. Statistically, he should not have won those, which raises a lot of red flags. And that's currently under investigation. None of this is about election integrity. It's about power. Mail-in voting protects access. And removing it is voter suppression, full stop. So please, don't let lies silence your voice. Know the facts, speak up, defend democracy.
Dookie Booty is really trying to push an executive order that would ban mail-in ballots and voter machines. I'm going to lead the movement to get rid of mail-in ballots. And also, while we're at it, highly inaccurate, very expensive, and seriously controversial voting machines, which cost 10 times more than accurate and sophisticated watermark paper, which is faster and leaves no doubt at the end of the evening as to who won and who lost the election. We are now the only country in the world that uses mail-in voting. All others gave it up because of the massive voter fraud encountered. This motherfucker lies so goddamn much. The only countries that limit mail-in ballots are South Korea, Japan, India, and France. Everybody else uses mail-in ballots. So I don't know why the fuck he lying. We're the only country who uses mail-in ballots. No, the fuck we're not. Motherfucker talking about he want to get rid of mail-in ballots and voting machines because they're highly expensive and highly controversial. Bitch, you just spent 200 fucking million on a ballroom. And you trying to say that voting machines and mail-in ballots are expensive? No, motherfucker, it's expensive for you because you gonna lose. It's at your expense, bitch. Because you know that you're gonna lose if we able to use everything that we've been using to vote. This motherfucker is trying to cheat for the 2026 midterm elections. And they ain't even trying to fucking hide the shit. That's the thing. They're not even trying to fucking hide it. He calling up Texas. I need 5 more seats. You putting in executive orders, trying to make it so we can't mail in our votes or use voter machines. How the fuck you want us to vote? How the fuck you think that's going to work? We got hundreds of thousands of people that's going to be voting. And you just think that we should only have one way of voting? You think that's going to really fucking work? What about the people who can't come and stand in line? Just fuck they votes, huh? This is blatant voter suppression, y'all. These motherfuckers don't care to hide the shit no more. They doing it out in the open, right in our fucking face. They already fucking cheated once. And the reason why he want to get rid of these voting machines now is because he ain't got Elon on his side. Elon ain't going to be there to be fucking with these machines for him. I already did it for you once. I ain't doing it again because you screwed me over. So now he's trying to use his executive power to try to get rid of our mail-in ballots and our voting machines. This man is literally doing anything and everything to distract from the Epstein files. We not going to forget about the fucking Epstein files.
Yep. So, y'all, the bottom line is, like I said, Donald Trump got to get everything set in place in order for the Republicans to win because of all the stuff he has done since he's been in office. Donald Trump knows if we had an election right now, he would be gone. He knows it. A lot of people, look at how many people take to the streets for these protests. These protests are huge. And it's so many people even Republicans that are all over, social media talking about they regret their vote. Donald Trump knows if he don't do anything, the Republicans are going to lose. And he desperately wants that third term in office. Donald Trump fears going to jail. And I do agree with this last woman. He needs to keep everybody from thinking about the Epstein files. And that's what Washington, D.C. is all about, in my opinion. If crime is going down, it was no need to occupy D.C. like that. So I think this voter thing that he's going to sign an executive order for, I think it's another distraction. And he's going to keep doing these outrageous things just so everybody can no longer be thinking about the Epstein files. That's what it's all about. But look, I don't vote, and I know many of you don't vote. And the way I see it, I don't vote, but I'm gonna sure sit back and enjoy the fallout from all of the stuff that he's doing. I'm gonna enjoy it because it's gonna cause a lot of people are gonna be upset. So we'll see what he got in mind and how people are gonna vote. But if you remember the last election, he said this will be the last. Some of y'all might remember this. He said this will be the last election. You won't even have to vote in the next 4 years. He said something to that effect, like you won't even have to worry about voting in the future. Now, some of y'all might remember. I sure remember him saying that. All right. So if if people in America are not going to vote, then doesn't that mean he just automatically stay in as a sitting president? I don't know. I think this ball was set in motion a long time ago, y'all. He's just implementing it now. That's all. Like many people say, Project 2025. Project 2025. Well, go right ahead, the Lady Diva. I don't give a shit if you unsubscribe. Do it now. No time like the present. Do it now. I don't give a shit about you leaving. Get the fuck out. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. So y'all have a wonderful day. I will be putting a few more things out a little later. So just be on the lookout. Shalom, family.